If you're looking for one of the most affordable systems available for your 2009 through 2021 or newer 5.7-liter Toyota Tundra, this 3-inch stainless steel rear exit exhaust system is a good choice for you. Now, this is a basic option for the Tundra owner who wants some better sound and much more volume to their current system if you want to turn heads with your V8. As you heard in this sound clip, this kicks it up a notch, getting a 3 out of 5 on the loudness meter, with 1 being stock and 5 being wake the neighbors loud. Great for the owners who want a moderate system to liven up their truck and not go overboard. Now, the other great thing about this system is that it's a solid upgrade to any rusted out or worn factory system that needs a replacement, made of high-grade materials that will hold up very well in whatever conditions that your Tundra is seeing. Now, this features a build as simple as it gets, with a single rear outlet design with a plastic polished tip, keeping the exhaust fairly inconspicuous when it comes to the appearance, which is good if you don't need a flashy system or care for one. Now, what's not subtle, however, is the sound, producing a deeper tone and a moderate amount of volume for the 5.7, thanks to the straight-through style muffler and mandrel bent piping. Now, with the exterior noise increase, the interior sound will go up as well, but thanks to the placement of the outlet and the overall design, it's going to remain pretty comfortable inside the cab for longer drives. But when you do have your foot on the pedal, you will be able to hear it, which is great for the exhaust enthusiast. This is made of a high-quality T304 stainless steel construction, which is completely rust-resistant compared to lower-grade stainless and other steel choices, making this one of your most durable choices for an exhaust. Now, the material is also completely TIG welded for a strong hold and additional durability over time. Now, it also comes with all of the factory-located hangers and all of the hardware required for a straightforward install process. Now, this is about $375, making this one of your most affordable choices for a catback on the page. Now, compared to other choices, this is as simple as can be, but made with high-grade stainless, so you get a good trade-off if you need the durability but don't really care for the look as much when it comes to a flashy system. Now, this is especially good for the Tundra owner in need of a quick and an affordable replacement while not wanting to sacrifice that quality in the meantime. Install here is a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and it's going to take you about an hour or so to get this in place. Now, at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers, and they're going to show you a detailed breakdown on how you can bolt this up to your Tundra at home. So that wraps it up for me. Let's get into the install.
All right, for this install, you will need a 3/8 ratchet, a 17mm wrench, a 14 and a 17mm socket, and a pair of exhaust pliers to remove the hangers. Today we're going to be installing an exhaust on our Tundra, but first we're going to watch a quick uninstall video and we'll meet you back here when you get finished.
All right, so before we can get started installing our new exhaust, we're going to go ahead and get our factory one off. We're going to show you how to do that while keeping our factory pipe intact. Obviously, if you plan on never reusing your original equipment, muffler and exhaust pipe, you can just cut it and make it a lot easier to remove off of your truck, to be quite honest with you. But this is a fleet vehicle, so this installation is not going to be permanent. So we're going to show you how to get it all out in one piece. So let's go ahead and get started. One thing I would recommend doing before you get going here, let your exhaust cool down if you've been driving your truck, and also get in there with some lubricating oil and spray up the little rubber hangers. That'll make popping those metal hangers out of the rubber a lot easier. All right, now to get started, like I already said, guys, I'm going to make sure everything's cooled down. These first 2 bolts we're going to take out are right by a catalytic converter, which gets really hot. And we've been letting our truck sit for like an hour and it's still pretty warm. I also recommend having eyewear and some gloves while you work with your exhaust. Exhaust pipes tend to have sharp edges to them, not to mention the surfaces being hot as well. So let's go ahead and get these out. Our factory bolts are 14mm. All right, same 14mm socket for these 2 bolts as well. Now we're gonna have a total of 4 rubber hangers like this, guys, and to be quite honest with you, if you're trying to keep your pipe intact like we are, you can do these in any order that you want. we're kind of doing it the way it might be easiest for us to demonstrate for you. So we're at the one that's all the way obviously back here by our spare tire. And you might see a little bit of wetness here on the rubber. I sprayed some penetrating oil on there earlier just to let it sink in. That makes these coming off a lot easier. All right guys, now this is the 4th out of 4 rubber hangers. So obviously once we pop this one loose, you gotta make sure your pipe is supported in some kind of way.
All right, now that we have our factory exhaust off, we can go back and spray some penetrating lubricant on our rubber hangers if you haven't already done so we can install the new piece. All right, first we're gonna install our mid-pipe assembly. We're gonna remove our rubber caps and slide this onto our hangers. Then we could just let that hang a little bit. Then we're gonna take our gasket, slide that on. Then we take our bolt, slide it through the back on the top end. Get that held into place a little bit. Might want to keep some pressure on it so it doesn't fly off. And then just get the nut started. All right, now that we have our bolt and our gasket installed, we're gonna tighten this up with our 17mm wrench and 17mm socket. All right, next we're gonna install our short mid pipe, remove the rubber cap, slide it into the rubber exhaust hanger. You let that hang a little bit, install our gasket. Let that sit there. And depending on what kind of catalytic converter you have, you may have an aftermarket one, but for this, we have the factory one installed and we're gonna use the factory hardware to bolt up the mid pipe. Get that threaded in. Use our 14mm socket to tighten that down. Next, you're going to want to slide on your exhaust clamps onto your mid pipes. And then you can take your muffler assembly. I'm going to slide this end on first so I can then twist it up and wiggle that in place. And you can just let that hang. Slide over your exhaust clamps. May need to stretch these a little bit to fit over. And you can take your 14mm socket and tighten these up. All right, now we can take our tailpiece that goes up and over the axle, slide it into our hanger. Let that rest on the axle. All right, now that we have our axle back resting, we can slide on our clamp onto the muffler. Slide this back a little bit out of our hanger to get some clearance, and slide in our axle back. All right, to get our tail section on, we are going to remove the factory exhaust hanger off of the frame side, and we are going to slide it onto the pipe. All right, we're going to slide our exhaust clamp onto the axle back section and slide our tailpiece onto that. And then we're going to take our factory hanger and hook that back up. Okay. All right, after you maneuvered everything around and made some adjustments, you can go back and tighten your clamps with the 14mm socket. All right, we can move back to our muffler section, tighten down this clamp with our 14mm. All right, you just want to double check your clearances and make sure your hangers are in place and properly installed. All right, now we can install our muffler tip. Slide that on, get it lined up and centered. Use our 14mm, tighten that down. Use our 14mm, tighten that down. All right, that wraps up our install for a 3-inch stainless steel exhaust system, rear exit for our 09 to 21 5.7 liter Tundra. Just remember, for everything Tundra related, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.